I thought this was a fitting drawing to show, brothers and sisters, considering the nature of the first arc in this epic journey. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more pictures like this one. One Piece Romance Dawn Arc Recap, Chapters 1 through 7. Welcome and hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you not so much a review this time as it is, I've been wanting to do these for a while, but this is going to be the first arc recap. Just kind of a quick, recap of the events, some of the characters we were introduced, and then at the end of it, I'm kind of going to give you some of my maybe favorite parts, maybe favorite character thus far, story, that sort of thing. So without further ado, we'll dive right into the first arc, which covered the first 8 chapters and was entitled the Romance Dawn arc. The first chapter, is about a 45, 50 page chapter, and that is, showing us Luffy as a young boy. It introduces us to him as a character. He trying to impress Shanks and his pirate crew because he wants to be a pirate. He winds up actually stabbing himself in the face, which creates a scar, which he still has until today. And long story short is we learn a little bit about Luffy. We also learn a little bit about Shanks himself because we see him walk away from a battle that he could have easily tangled with the mountain man Haguna. And he does not. He walks away. So we learn some valuable lessons from it. And then ultimately at the end of it, Shanks winds up saving Luffy and loses his left arm in the process. And he winds up giving Luffy his straw hat. So that's kind of where that comes from. And it's just a real nice chapter to kind of build the foundation for everything that comes, past that. So the next chapters are, Luffy winds up meeting. He runs into Iron Mace Alvida and meets up with Coby. There's a brief encounter with them, and that's in the second chapter. He whips Alvida's fat ass and then winds up going off and going towards hearing about over on the island that they have the Navy base where the Marines are and everything, that they have the great Pirate Hunter Roronoa Zoro, and he is going to go and try to get him to join his crew. So that's where the next 4 or 5 chapters take place. On the island, we're introduced to Zoro. We're introduced to, and we see a little bit about his past. We see about his promise that he made back in the dojo, back in the days when he was growing up to be the greatest swordsman in the world. He made that promise to Kuina, that one of them would be the greatest swordsman in the world, and she winds up dying, tripping and falling down some stairs and dying unexpectedly the next day. So that's basically where his motivations come from. However, I'm looking to see more about Zoro's past, and this all winds up taking place during the course of Luffy and Coby trying to free Zoro, and so Luffy, even though Zoro doesn't want to join him because he's a pirate and Zoro's a pirate hunter, so they kind of don't mix. Luffy's comes to the conclusion that if he can get Zoro's swords for him, or his sword, he thinks at the time that that Zoro will have to join him. So we're introduced to Helmeppo, which is Captain Morgan's son, and Helmeppo is he's got this bowl head haircut, and he's really just kind of a douchebag. He's kind of got the "my daddy said it's okay" type of complex, and just is a real piece of work. We also are introduced later on in I believe chapter 5 to Captain Morgan himself, old Axe Hand Morgan, and he's got this menacing looking jaw, this metal jaw, and this just huge axe and everything. And he's just this big foreboding looking character. Luffy winds up tangling with him, and in the process, he frees Zoro and basically winds up kicking the shit out of Captain Morgan. We first see some of Luffy's powers, but not really anything too significant, but just some of his powers that he can use from the devil fruit that he had eaten way back which gives him the power to stretch. And some of his powers we wind up seeing kind of come out and some of the abilities. But again, this is just a brief, short arc. I mean, eight chapters is really nothing, and it goes by very quickly, to tell you the truth. So Zoro winds up joining them, and everybody in the town is happy, even the other naval officers, even the other Marines, because old Axe Hand Morgan he had a statue being erected to him, being put up, in his honor and everything. He's just a real piece of crap, So, and you can see where his son got it from. But they both, wound up getting knocked out, and Captain Morgan was pretty much overthrown or taken out of power. And so the townspeople, the Marines, everybody is happy with Luffy and company. Coby, who is kind of the little weak character that we met, that was just sort of the whiny character, but he had a good heart. He wanted to become, more than anything, he wanted to join the Navy. And Luffy winds up showing him a kindness, and, the Navy would not let Coby be part of the Navy if they knew that he had anything to do with pirates. So Luffy pretty much, goes and pretends like he doesn't even know him, and like they don't like each other and everything else, as Luffy and Zoro are getting ready to set out on their journey. And he does this because he wants to, he wants Coby to be able to get into the Navy. So Coby is in fact accepted into the Navy. And they kind of tell him, hey, you guys got to leave, though. That the naval officers say, listen, you're still pirates. You got to take off. And this is all just kind of a goofy, magical, sort of comedic way to start everything, because Luffy is he's directionally challenged. The whole way that he wound up getting and wound up being discovered and being found by Coby and Alvida and everything was that he basically was just, sailing off in this little boat and pretty much got sucked into a whirlpool, and then somehow wound up in a barrel, and, it was discovered by them. He has no idea where he's going, has no idea how to build a crew, just knows that he has this tunnel vision for getting Goldie Rogers' treasure, who was a famous pirate, and before he was killed, had when prattling on about basically, anybody who wants the One Piece, go find it, So the only thing that anybody knows to this point about it is that it's somewhere in the Grand Line, which is this, circular, almost like the equator, I guess, around the Earth. It's the sailing route, the shipping route, where all the meanest, toughest pirates and characters, reside. So that's kind of the whole intention, of everything, is just to kind of introduce us a little bit and give us just the tip of the iceberg of Luffy and who he is and kind of why he's pushing forward. And really, it's just kind of a character building thing. I know a lot of people have said it starts off very slow, and I would agree with that. It does start off a little bit slower, but you can really kind of see the writing on the wall. You can see that there's big things to come, and that there was a whole plan in mind. So, he puts everything together, is able to get Zoro certainly to join him. Towards the end of this arc, him and Zoro go and set sail, and neither one are very good at being pirates. Zoro is a reluctant pirate and explains to him a little more about his background, and basically he doesn't know very much about direction either. He went out and got lost when he was chasing somebody, and then pretty much couldn't find his way back to where he belonged, his village or whatever, so he just became a pirate bounty hunter because the shoe fit, right? So we realize that they're both more brains than and brawn. They're both more brawn than brains, as far as the thinking part of it. And they come to the realization that they need a navigator, somebody to help them, to get to where they're going. So the end of the arc winds up, kind of carrying us or starting into the next arc. And the end of the arc is pretty much just Luffy being carried off by this giant bird that he tried to stretch to fling himself, catapult to the bird, thinking it was smaller, that he could take it down because him and Zoro were hungry on the boat. He winds up getting carried off into the distance. Zoro winds up following him, and that's kind of, how everything ends and just sort of leads us into the next arc. So all in all, it was fun. Am I going to say it's the best thing ever? No. And I'm certainly never going to say that it's my favorite arc. Probably if I had done this review right after the arc had finished, I would say it's my favorite arc because it's the only one that I had read. But since I'm now in the fourth or fifth arc, and certainly kind of getting real deep into the meat of the story, that's how I feel about it. So my favorite character from the first arc, I would have to say, I know it's kind of tough because you want to go and you want to think about one of the main characters. You want to think about like a Luffy or a Zoro. But I think it was probably Shanks. I think I liked him because I liked the message that he delivered to Luffy, to a young and impressionable Luffy. And that message was, listen, you don't have to always go and just punch somebody in the mouth because they looked at you wrong or because you think that they might have wronged you. He tried to teach him a life lesson that I in fact have tried to teach my kids, that I learned the hard way, and that is that, walking away is the hardest thing you could ever do from a potential fight or confrontation or battle. It's so easy to just flip the switch and just attack somebody verbally or physically, and really nobody wins in that situation. So it's much more difficult to resolve it a different way or to walk away ultimately from it. So I think that would probably be my favorite character. As far as a favorite chapter, I certainly liked the chapter where Helmeppo got knocked on his ass. I believe that was in chapter 5. He got slapped around. Luffy was carrying him all over the place and using him as a human shield. And I just thought that was good. Either that or the next chapter where Captain Morgan, got knocked out, and we got to see some of Luffy's powers, and we got to see Zoro in action with his 3-sword technique, which was pretty cool because the first, I said, man, that's crazy. I never thought of somebody using 3 swords. So that was pretty cool to see, I think, in the first. In the first few chapters as well. So, but all in all, like I said, I do think it was a lot of fun. And I would say that after the first arc, that Shanks would have been my favorite character that was introduced in that first arc, and I'm certainly hoping that that he'll be reintroduced in the future. So, but no spoilers. Anybody who is new to the channel, I am new to manga and new to One Piece in general. I review a couple of chapters a day, and that's it. I don't read ahead, so I do not know what anything that's going on in the future. I don't know what happens in chapter 500 or 700 or even 200. So whatever chapter I'm at currently that you see on my channel for the last review that's up, I'm within a chapter or two of that because I try to record a little bit ahead. So, but let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to go ahead and hit the thumbs up or the like button if you think I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thanks for watching, brothers and sisters, and remember, join the Nerd Nation. It's the right thing to do. Trust me. Tell them Jim sent you.